recording. This is game number 1 between Team 4-Not and Ability Power is Magic, and of course 4-Not will be taking blue side while Ability Power is Magic is on purple. Heading into picks and bans, my name is Silverdirge. With me is my co-caster Frodan, but we had just finished a best of 3 series between Federal Extreme Union and Worldwide Wipers, and we are exhausted. We are also Pacific Standard Time, so everybody else here got to essentially sleep in a little bit more, and Frodan and I are about this close to completely passing out from exhaustion. But here we are, picks and bans. Lee Sin, Janna, and Rammus. Earlier today, actually, Janna proved to be a very pivotal champion, did end up getting banned twice, also very popular since Hanover. And typical bans on Lee Sin and Rammus. Interested to see the Rammus ban. Doesn't get played a whole lot since the jungle changes. I'm almost kind of sad I haven't seen Rammus in a long time.
Yeah, Rammus is cute.
He is. I want a stuffed animal Rammus. I really would.
You should. My friend showed me the other day that one of her friends sewed her a Teemo doll.
Ooh.
And I actually wanted to. It actually filled me with so much rage that I threw the next thing that I could see and hold in my hand. So. No, totally kidding. No, oh my god, I played against this Teemo yesterday. Oh, I hated him so much. I played against this Teemo yesterday. That was just like, he got Ghost and Teleport, and all he would do is teleport into a fight and then Ghost and run around. Like, it was just so. Oh my gosh, I really. It filled me. I felt emotions that I never felt before playing against this Teemo. It was absolutely ridiculous.
That's what Teemo does. Anyway, finishing up picks and bans. We got bans on Kennen and Shen, 2 very strong champions. Kennen, not so much. As we saw that last game, Stealth Breed had a little bit of difficulty playing Kennen. Did manage to finally dish out the damage he deserved, but still proving to be a little bit of a tangle to play with. Ooh, Bloodwater picking up Shyvana, and Zyril picking up Graves. Now, I have to remark very quickly, I believe Kenneth is the new jungler for Team 4-Not, and Raiden is the substitute AD carry or permanent because their normal AD carry, Parole, has internet issues, and I'm not entirely sure yet. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure yet if they are guaranteed. If they're guaranteed a spot on the team, or if they are temporary. I can't remember.
Regardless,
they are playing with 4-Not. So Team 4-Not on blue team, and Team Ability Power is Magic on purple team. Raiden looks like he will be taking Soda for Bloodwater. Bloodwater is their support player. Kenneth picking up Ezreal. I like Ezreal. And if anyone's ever seen Dan play Ezreal, you should, because Dan is a very entertaining, if not awesome, Ezreal to watch. But Kenneth will be taking Ezreal.
Talking about me?
Yes.
Or Dan Din? Oh,
Dan.
Oh, thank you.
As in you, Dan. Yes.
I love Ezreal. Okay, Ezreal, I mean, he's like one of those players he's one of those champions that every player seems to have played him at one point. It's like, oh man, he's so fun, but he's not good. No, I actually think he's really good in the right situation. Specifically, if your team has attack speed dependent champions and they have attack speed, like, it's actually really devastating for an Essence Flux. It just changes the entire dynamic of the game. Especially, like, you have someone like Shyvana who's just, wants to attack as fast as you can, and they have someone like they have a Nunu. Basically, you can just cancel a huge part of their blood boil out. So it's just, Ezreal is a really underutilized champion. We saw him actually used quite a bit in Hanover. I know Double Lift was running him and doing really good job kiting. And I mean, that's just pretty much what Ezreal does. Now, it's interesting because they picked Ezreal before they picked a lot of other champions. So there's a lot of gap closers that was picked for for ability power, Team AP, as we'll call it. They're picking Nautilus, and they're picking Urgot. Now, Urgot's actually been a really interesting pick for mid, and just sending him mid, we've seen players like Big Fat GG go for Urgot mid and just play as like an anti-mid. So looks like for now though, Fortnite is just kind of like dancing around which champion they're going to pick, showing all kinds of potential choices. But we'll finally see who they pick in a few seconds. But so far, what do you think right now?
I am honestly very excited. I cast a lot for Fortnite, so I know the majority of their team. And actually, Legacy, their manager has just told me Raiden is their jungler, while Kennex is the AD sub. So yeah, actually, Dr. Trevor picking up Renekton and Kramer on Cassiopeia. Cool. This guy is, I have high hopes for him. He's been able to get matched up against supposed quote-unquote counters, as I've heard other casters claim, for example, that Vladimir is a counter, that, like, for example, anybody with the ability to keep Cassiopeia in place is a counter. But Kramer, this guy knows how to play Cassiopeia, and it's so intriguing, if not just graceful, the way that he plays him. Cassiopeia is very interesting as a bursty champion because she does a lot of AoE and damage over time, which is very different than a lot of other casters. So it requires a little bit of a different, I guess, mechanism, but you still have to throw out a lot of abilities in order to get those combos off, and Kramer can do it very, very well. Dr. Trevor, on the other hand, is an excellent top laner. I think I've only seen him play Renekton once, but he has played Cassiopeia top. He's played Ryze top. Kramer has also an excellent Ryze, but Dr. Trevor, a very fascinating top laner. Bloodwater, always a fun.
He's a good support.
Yeah, he's a fun and good support, and I think it's a running joke between at least myself and Rapid, another caster, and I guess a few other Fortnite players, that Bloodwater has the highest ELO of their entire team, but because of his internet connection and his computer, he is on the support role and not going to take chances with any sort of latency whatsoever. But,
you know, Bloodwater is actually super tall in real life. Oh. He's like 6'4".
That's
at least. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, I kind of got lost in estimating his height because my neck was getting sore from looking up while talking to him. So he is ginormous. And he like wears he wears like a leather coat wherever he goes, so he's like a badass all the time. And he's also got like he's got one of those complexions, like he doesn't care about whatever. No, like, not doesn't care. He's really laid back and he's chill. And like I feel like he's a cigarette and a motorcycle short of like being the spokesperson for a Harley Davidson. So it's he's a really cool, chill guy in real life, and he's also really approachable. Like I talk to him and ask him like any question. He's always like, yeah, it's this and that. So Bloodwater is really chill. He lives around SoCal area, so whenever we have a League of Legends LAN, he's always there. But you know, we've been focusing a lot on Fortnite. Sorry, what? Yeah, I kind of want to talk about the ability powers Magic. They're kind of the underdogs here. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about them specifically. Morgana is an interesting pick against Cassiopeia. In fact, whenever I saw Morgana, I would pick Cass just because of how fast you can shred that black shield with Twin Fang poisons. So you're able to really do a lot of good damage as Cassiopeia against Morgana. So I'm not sure necessarily about that pick. But then again, it's Cassiopeia who can pretty much tear down almost anyone. Michelle, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And Cassiopeia, the ability to just wear people down through shields and not quite a single burst chunk that after cooldowns are down, you are done. No, Cassiopeia, her cooldowns are so low, especially with her passive cadence ability. She is just able to throw ability after ability, so that'll wear down Morgana's her black shield, very quickly. Same thing with Zyrule. Nautilus has a small shield. Will be able to wear down the healing on Soraka, also the shield on Urgot, but more fascinatingly, Urgot and Graves on the same team.
Yeah, you know, actually people talking about an IRC. For some, I don't know, like I was derping a lot. I was like, Urgot's actually a really good anti-bruiser just because of the way he's able to lane really strong. I mean, he has that ability to poke, and so he's just going to be really tanky and play more as like an anti-carry kind of thing. Like he's going to try to stick on Ezreal and make sure that his DPS is not going to be able to be really high with Frozen Heart. But interestingly enough, Fortnite actually took 3 ignites which is a really, really high amount of damage that's going to be put out by them. And they don't have a heal. Bloodwater is actually picking up CV, and so I'm gonna assume that Bloodwater is gonna try to see if he can max heal first, especially when you're up against a Soraka lane. So we'll see how that actually works out. The big question mark here in this game is actually, in my opinion, going to be Nautilus. Whether or not he's going to be effective against a really fast clearer. Actually, I feel like I was watching the Odd One talk about Shyvana versus a slow clear like Nautilus, and he was saying that he's kind of scared to play Nautilus in a competitive environment because he's not sure if he can keep up with a fast clear. So that actually is another big thing going on for Raiden and Fortnite in general.
Yeah, and I mean, Nautilus, that utility that he has with that hook shot, I think will prove very, very effective against Fortnite because I'm also counting Ezreal. Cassiopeia has a tendency to sit still. Sona can move while using abilities, but in order to use the ultimate, she has to be placed in just the right time, or just the right location. But yeah, being able to hookshot and move people out of the way that need to be moved, I think if he does manage to land,
and one thing to really consider for team ability power is that their level 1's actually pretty nasty between dark binding and their hooks, and like they actually can do some pretty good punishment if they choose to invade. So we'll have to find out whether or not Fortnite's going to do that. Fortnite, of course, with Shyvana, you can't actually predict where she's going to start directly, so their best bet right now is actually to just go through this tri-bush bottom lane. But actually, real quick, we didn't even introduce the teams. Michelle, can you take us away with introductions?
Yeah, so in the top right corner, this red team or purple team, depending on whether or not you are colorblind. These guys, our ability power is magic. Their opponents in the bottom left are Team Fortnite, sponsored by AMD. But these guys are also a little bit, I guess, underdogs here in the pro scene, whereas ability power is magic will be trying to put up a good challenge to Fortnite, and I have full faith that they will be able to do so. Fortnite has won a few Go for Lulz, as well as placing in the top 3 for multiple others. So I'm very excited to see how this all plays out. In the meantime, my name is Silverdirge, and with me is the fearless Frodan.
Yep. So guys, if you throughout this game, you can go ahead and log onto the IRC. People don't actually know that there's an IRC chat. It's just ggClassic, ggClassic 2, ggClassic 3, and if you can count up that high, ggClassic 4. So we see immediately Nautilus starting blue, and that's pretty big because Nautilus needs that blue to really clear faster. And Shyvana's actually going to start blue as well. Now, the big question is, will Shyvana go towards their opponent's red? Because she knows Nautilus is a slow clearer. Raiden does have the opportunity to go to his opponent's red camp and try to steal that blessing of the Lizard Elder. But we'll have to find out if that's actually going to happen. But for now, looks like a pretty normal start. No invades just yet, and we're getting underway here.
And Renekton has just reached top lane. Raiden needs to be careful if he goes into the jungle. Soraka did ward red very, very early, and actually Zyril here looking for a very early level 2 gank. Here he comes against Kramer. Oh, does miss the anchor just barely, and Kramer will be just fine while Zyril returns to his own jungle. Pings have gone down. They see Raiden, and they are after him. Oh, there goes Morgana, and Raiden does have to exhaust Gasti. Gasti has burned Flash to try to catch up with Raiden. Here he's on the run, and will he be able to make it? Yes, he will, with almost taking red buff.
Yeah, and you know, Gasti actually cost him a lot of EXP. He's actually down an entire level, so he's going to get chunked for a good 2/3 of his health. And all of a sudden, this level 1 or level 2 engagement has become extremely messy. Raiden took a lot of damage, Gasti took a lot of damage, and Masai even coming up here trying to see if he can get into the fray, but unfortunately just a little bit too late. And looks like they're going to reset. Actually, hold that thought. They're going to go ahead and 3-man swing. Does end up locking Dr. Trevor in, but does miss the hook shot. And Gasti will try to see if he can push on a little bit more damage. That could have ended really, really poorly, but a nice little evasion. And Dr. Trevor avoiding first blood. That would have been a very, very good set of the tone for team ability power if they got that. But for now, avoiding that was a very key play. And I think a lot of summers have been burned. What exactly did we see used there, Michelle?
We saw Flash by Dr. Trevor. Gasti's Flash has been down. And I think that was it in terms of summoners, but they've just been running back and forth. Oh yeah, and Raiden also burned Exhaust earlier onto ghastly in order to get away just in time. Is running the Exhaust Smite combination as opposed to Smite Flash. But yeah, I guess burning down 2 flashes and 1 exhaust. The exhaust not as overly detrimental, but if you are Shyvana with Smite as your second summoner, that's pretty much your flash. So there we go. Raiden has picked, picked up a double buff. Same thing with Zyro, and they're coming in through middle lane. Looks like they will see one another.
Yeah, that's just going to be that one of those awkward moments. And Zyro is actually doing something really risky of revealing his location, especially for Shyvana. That just allows him to keep tabs on where his opponent jungler is, and by doing so, he's able to really monitor if he's able to counter jungle or not. So Zyro being a little bit fearless right now, just trying to move out and get some EXP, and more importantly, sapping EXP from Messiah. So we'll have to see if that actually pays off dividends. And then meanwhile, bottom is still pretty passive, nothing of real consequence yet. The way Sona and Ezreal used to work was to poke down and burst really early on. But hold that thought, we have an engagement top lane. Will he be able to get the dredge line? He does, and all of a sudden the Asa Hunter should be able to finish it off. And Gassy with first blood on Dr. Trevor, a big play again. So Zyrule showing that early EXP gains was really good, allowing him to level up and add a lot more damage.
And Raiden here trying to hold that tower while Gassy here on Urgot taking a lot of damage as well as trading a lot. And Kramer actually stealing a couple of the raids from Messiah and Zyrule, but man, these guys are just, they're not letting up. There's aggression, I guess, on all sides, and junglers trying to keep a commanding presence on one another.
Yeah, no, that's a great little point there, Michelle. So let's go ahead and focus back on bot lane. Big ol' Bun taking a lot of damage. Oh, he ignited him, but does miss the Mystic Shot. Lands Essence Flux, but looks like Nerevar. Oh, I'm going to have a tough time saying that all game. Does end up having to burn heal. And, oh no, just kidding. Actually, Graves was the one who burned heal. Both, they have actually double heal bot lane. So I guess activating one heal will mean that they can activate it later on. Just have to make sure not to overlap those double heals. And looks like they avoided Crisis there. But for now, Ezreal and Sona doing a good job poking bot lane like we thought. That early game burst, pretty devastating if you're not careful.
And speaking of devastation, here comes Dr. Trevor looking in for bottom lane. I don't think they're expecting this at all for a top laner to come all the way down to mid, but that's kind of wasted time here. Coming up to top lane, pressuring Ghastly all the way up at the tower. Messiah just hugging his. Kramer trying to find a chance to back up again. Has been backing up very frequently. Did pick up Doran's ring as soon as he could. So I like the play that Kramer has, trying to go back frequently, grab items, and rush back to the lane as fast as possible because he has a Doran's ring above Messiah right now.
Yeah, that just allows him to, have that much more of a lane advantage. So right now, so far, Zyrule is doing really good. I was talking to you that he's kind of like the X factor because Nautilus is still such a new champion that we don't know his potential yet. And Rhydon, we're looking for him to make plays based off Nautilus's slow clear speed. But for now, looks like it's still too early to say. Passing off another blue here to Kramer, and Cassiopeia with blue is one of the scariest champions to have that blue buff on. So Kramer, you can definitely count on the fact that when he comes back, will be on full force and full aggression. But for now, again, Fortnite being pretty careful here. They don't want to give any other unnecessary leads because right now, ability power with that first blood should have a pretty decent advantage in terms of just top lane.
And let's take a look very, very quickly here at CS. We have 49 on Cassiopeia to the 36 on Morgana. We have got Kramer here with a demanding lead to Morgana's CS up here in top lane. Renekton with 22 to the Urgot's 52. So I guess in return, top lane's having difficulty, whereas Morgana has also kind of got her hands full. But yeah, bottom lane 76 on Graves and 72 on Ezreal. Very even here in bottom lane, but guys, top and mid lane advantages are very switched around. Kramer, oh, Kramer here might get caught by Ghastly. Oh, does miss that, but Oh, and the Dark Binding. They're just taking free damage here from Kramer. Whereas, if you're Cassiopeia and you're taking free damage from her, that's pretty massive.
Yeah, and you can't chase Cassiopeia because if he turns around and decrepifies, you're just going to absolutely be in a world of pain. And look at that. Dr. Trevor actually forced to activate his ultimate before he's able to do anything. Gassy does get intercepted by Radon, though, and looks like he's going to try to just stick on him. Will he be able to get away? He should be able to. Zyrule gets there in time, and looks like crisis averted. That could have turned very, very badly for Gassy. But for now, I mean, Zyrule's spending so much time top here. What do you think about this choice here from Ability Power?
I think knowing how Dr. Trevor plays, I think it's a wise idea. Dr. Trevor, if you manage to pin him down and keep him there, I mean, he flourishes if you don't keep an eye on him, and that's exactly what they're doing. But even then, being able to pressure him, and he's still able to take a good amount of CS comparatively to an Urgot, I suppose, and he should be completely fine here. There we go. Yep, and Urgot actually backing up, letting Dr. Trevor take that free CS. But Kramer here in middle lane, also same thing. If you let either Kramer or Dr. Trevor get out of control, things will just fall apart very quickly. And right now, Kramer is going to be a big factor here on Fornot if Trevor remains behind Urgot.
Yeah, a couple things to consider is that Dr. Trevor's view was 2 levels down. Actually, a corrosive charge did land. He's going to try to Acid Hunter snipe Renekton down to half health. So, again, that's kind of the whole idea, you know, of Urgot just being able to deny Renekton of a lot of CS. And you can see Dr. Trevor forced back. Looks like Kramer's still under pressure. Zyrule doing a good job just being everywhere. And really putting on pressure without falling behind Shyvana terribly. He's just down a little bit of level. That's because, for the most part, Raiden's been just farming. And you can see the way that the jungles have been controlled. There's only one camp right now on the entire map that hasn't been attended to. So overall, the junglers have been extending their presence in a lot of places. But more specifically, again, I've been impressed so far with Zyrule's play over Nautilus. Again, a pretty underutilized jungler. We only saw him a couple times at Hanover, but he was pretty inconsequential, I'd say.
And ooh, very well landed hookshot by Zyrule. Kramer is stuck under the turret. There's the scream. We'll get out of there just barely alive. And here comes Nautilus in pursuit, but Kramer's going to get out of there. Very, very clutch play by Kramer to get out of there just in time. And in the meantime, oh, I'm sorry, we just missed a kill in top lane. Did you manage to catch that, Dan?
I caught the very last second of it because I thought he was going to escape, but Dr. Trevor, I mean, he managed to barely stun him there and get the ignite off, so that did finish off Gassy, and that's huge, actually. Gassy had a pretty big lead, but now things should be evened up, and all of a sudden the score is 1-1. In fact, Fornot managed to be out CSing right now, and does have a slight advantage. We see, again, more pressure on mid, but for the most part, everything should be okay. 109 CS, or actually 110 rather, to 108, so still pretty even. Looks like we see a huge engagement in bot lane. Looks like Nerverever's forced to use her Astral Blessing a little, really quickly, but we see a 4-person swing potentially from Team Ability Power. Will Zero be able to land a dredge line? Looks like he's going to be able to do it. Nice dodge by Bloodwater, though, and making sure he does not get caught, and Bloodwater avoiding a potential crisis situation and forcing a lot out of his opponents. Did have to burn his flash, but again, not donating a kill. Fantastic job. Bloodwater showing why he is a really good support.
Very excellently done as well, because support, in order to support, you kind of need to be alive. And yeah, I guess they could end up setting up for Dragon here, even though it is being carefully monitored. There are wards everywhere around the vicinity in the river near Dragon, but we're all returning into our lanes. Messiah has picked up the blue buff for himself, and Kramer as well, so I guess everyone's returning back to lane. Nothing huge going on quite yet, just small exchanges going around. Oh, Ignite being landed onto Buns. Bloodwater does land the ultimate, and Kennick securing yet another kill for his team. Nerver is just stuck under his turret. They're unable to, I guess, heal up Buns. Both summoner heals were burned, as well as...
Michelle, top there, Gasty got jumped on, and looks like Trevor and Raiden should be able to pick up the kill there, and just again, Gasti overextending, but it was a fantastic spot. Basically, Shyvana jumped in from just under that top bush there and was able to get the stuns there. And all of a sudden, Gasti finds himself down the hole as Renekton, despite being down CS, should be able to clean up here and get a level advantage. So, good job by Fornot, and Raiden doing a good job, you know, trying to get his top back to the game. Of course, during this whole time, normally Messiah as Morgana would love to assist those kinds of lanes, but Cassiopeia putting on pressure and Kramer doing a pretty good job holding his own. I'm going to look to see again, you know, Zyril did a good job being everywhere, but now he seems to not be as effective as a Nautilus player because he's too busy trying to patch things as opposed to making plays right now because Gassi's been getting caught. So hopefully we can see ability power turn around as right now a big moment of passivity as a lot of people are buying and gearing up for that transition to the mid game.
And excellent dark binding landed by Messiah, but unfortunately a snare is not quite the same as a stun. It's too dangerous to engage on that dark binding after landing it on the Kramer. And ping's going down. They want it back up there. Ooh, excellent binding onto Dr. Trevor as well with a tormented soil. But Messiah is going to be able to get away from there just fine. Blue buff is about to expire soon, so.
Ooh, very, very cool. Actually, we see Dr. Trevor being really aggressive on Zyril, and Zyril has an Oracle, so he has to be really cautious. Oh no, looks like Dr. Trevor really jumping on him and adding a lot of damage. Now Zyril could have took a lot more damage there, but was actually really cautious of making sure he didn't lose too much health. But one thing that's kind of cool here is I was talking about bottom lane. Actually, Ezreal might be able to pick off Biggle Buns, but Ken's actually going Black Cleaver, which is a build that I'm a Cutie Pie does from Dignitas, and it's a really interesting build as you go Black Cleaver first and then you transition to everything else normally, and it just adds a lot of good damage. But it looks like mid tower does end up dropping here, and looks like we see a transition as a lot of ability power is going up towards the north, trying to see if they can trap Dr. Trevor, and this has pretty been a big focus of the game. But Dr. Trevor does activate Dominance. Here comes Dragon's Descent, and Zyrul's under a lot of pressure, does not want to lose that Oracles again. Will he be able to get it? The exhaust does pop, but Zyril does flash. Messiah should be here to make sure nothing happens, but again, the top focus this entire game has been a lot of pressure on Gasti and making sure that he gets shut down. But looks like in the bottom lane I missed that. My apologies, Michelle, because I totally missed that kill on Soraka. But overall, fantastic job by Fornot to really pressure on all kinds of situations and able to get the kill. Graves almost dropped as well, and that could have been a 2-for-1 situation.
And excellent play by Kenix, forcing, or I guess killing Nerevar and forcing Biggle Buns to back off, and that's a free turret for him. But Dragon is up, and the rest of Fornot knows it. Looks like they are rushing for it. CV does go down by Bloodwater, who has done an excellent job putting Clairvoyance down, giving his team the vision that they need to figure out where in the world everybody is. But in the meantime, they get Clairvoyance back. But a little bit too late. Dragon does go to Fornot, and Kenix is all on his lonesome if the rest of ability power is magic decides to descend upon him.
Yeah, the thing about right now is that they're just getting out farmed and out CS. Just you can see Ezreal has a 20 CS advantage. Morgana is actually down by about 50, so that's huge. And that's basically 3 kills. So you know, having that advantage is really, really important. Now they're also down to Dragon. Looks like Kramer may have overextended here. Looks like he's going to try to get switched on. Will Gassy be able to land the position reverser? I don't think so. And Kramer potentially avoided a bad situation. Now, you have to be careful. We were talking about Michelle, that if you chase a Cassiopeia, you could be in a very, very bad situation. So, good job there from Kramer to just get away, making sure he doesn't die, because again, you don't want to give anyone free kills because it's very easy to stop your momentum that way if you just donate even 1 kill to your opponents.
And Raiden actually just backs up from middle lane. Bloodwater, Kramer, and Dr. Trevor are all nearby. Bloodwater, almost walked into the bush in which Gasti is coming at from. But they have it well warded, and he does have an Oracle still. You don't want to give that up, but Zyril, on the other hand, also has an Oracle. That jungler with an Oracle, shenanigan right there does clear out wards, but there we go. Messiah taking a lot of damage right now from both Raiden and Kramer, but that's the full 5 members of ability power is magic 4 of Fornot, and they're letting Kenix have his way with bottom lane.
Yeah, they're just basically trying to make a play here in mid, but they have to be cautious because they don't have, you know, a lot of ability to make a play initially. They have to have Morgana land Dark Binding or Zero to land a Dredge line. So it's really dependent upon those things. And it looks like for now they're just being more passive and defensive and kind of being indecisive. Actually, they actually geared up. There's no purpose to send all 5 members mid just to disperse, especially because there was no tower to defend. So ability power getting a little bit more disorganized here, and Fornot is doing a fantastic job controlling. You can see their vision is pretty good right now, and Bloodwater is also starting to hunt down wards. So this is getting a scary time here, especially because Kenneth is moving down here on Never Ever, and looks like he's going to ignite Graves. He was baiting the heal the entire time. Will Biggle Burns also go down? Looks like all 3 heals forced out of Soraka, but still not going to be enough, as Kenneth does pick up the kill, and he is on a spree.
Yeah, that Black Cleaver is proving to be detrimental for this fight.
Yep.
It's attack damage, attack speed, and reducing the armor, so that's it's almost more than enough damage. Oh, Zyril trying to get into the safety of his own tower, but that's a 3-man descending on that for a gank. Is that actually burning Ignite on the Dr. Trevor? I don't know if that was a misclick or just trying to harass him a little bit, but man, unfortunately, Zyril trying to be like, oh, I'm under my tower, you're gonna back off, but no, that's 3 members of Fornot down there just melting him down before he had a chance to do anything.
Yeah. This game was really close until 14 minutes into the game, and then Fornot showing really good. Oh, here goes a position reverser, but it's actually canceled. My goodness. Not exactly sure why he decided to cancel that, but looks like Kenneth almost dropped there, and that would have been a very, very good job for ability power just to start turning things around. But for now, they're losing so many turrets. 5 turrets to 0, as well as 2 dragons in favor for Fornot. Not to mention CS again has still been playing a pretty big factor. Morgana not even cracking triple digits just yet. Hasn't even finished her catalyst. And that's actually a really, really big factor, just because normally Morgana should be way more tanky to be able to handle some punishment, but for now she can't even really take on any punishment.
Yeah, and Dr. Trevor, they're just being very cheeky, putting down the wards where he can, and Kenneth just moving around trying to get away from the middle of their jungle. But ability power is magic, staying together as a team, which is a wise idea. Anybody's left alone, they will be picked off, just like Bloodwater right now, who gets bursted down by Gassy. There's the scream. Messiah will be the next to fall. Kramer picking up a kill for a 1-for-1. Bigglebuns is left all alone, and Kramer dishing out a lot of damage here, whereas Gassy, Bigglebuns barely missing the Q. Kramer is in trouble. There's an excellent flash, but will go down to Gassy. Here comes Dr. Trevor and Raiden as cleanup crew. Raiden on a kill spree. Zyril in trouble, and Nerever not sure. No, Dr. Trevor's going to take down Zyril. Bigglebuns is the next to fall, and this will be an ace for Team Fornot at the 22-minute mark.
Fantastic, and that should lead straight to a Baron. They already pinged that they're indicating to go there, and you know, that's just exactly what ability power needed up until the fact that they got engaged upon, because they managed to take out some really key players like the Oracles from Bloodwater and Kramer shut down before she can get a killing spree up. And the idea is, you know, Kramer did a really good job kiting and moving back and forth. You can see that he was just waggling his way out of things. But now that Bloodwater has joined back up and Baron should be up, that's actually a big thing. Oh no, we see the arcade shift over the wall. Messiah under a lot of pressure. Kendrick, oh, he does land one more Mystic shot. Messiah, will he be able to do it? Nice play there by Trevor to actually try to slice and dice onto the Wraiths and be able to jump up, but not going to be enough. Messiah barely getting away there. But now we see that Fornot is at an 11,000 gold advantage, and that is absolutely insane at 22 minutes in the game. That's just pretty much every 2 minutes you get 1,000 gold advantage. So Fornot doing a fantastic job pressuring. They should start working on top, and it's going to be very soon starting to work on inhibitors. And I feel like right now ability power has to make some kind of play, but not necessarily an over-aggressive one. They're waltzing out to the middle with no guarantee that they'll be able to get anyone. And
Dr. Trevor here doing that split pushing thing, keeping Messiah's hands full, trying to take this top lane, but in the meantime, they want this bottom turret. Oh, there's the position switch onto Kramer. There we go, and taking a lot of damage here. There's the scream on Bagel Buns under the turret, but Soraka taking the kill onto Cassiopeia, and Dr. Trevor trying to be cleanup crew here, but that is a full team he does not want to engage on. He's on the run right now. Bloodwater trying to support him. He will get out of there just fine, but Kramer unfortunately caught out of position, and Raiden in the meantime is holding blue buff, trying to take that for Kenneth, and there we go. Kenneth does take that blue buff, but ability powers magic wants this dragon now.
Yeah, and Kennex, because he missed that, might actually be... There it is! Oh man, looks like he's going to be targeted here by the ultimate, and Radon jumps immediately in, Darkbinded as well, and Ignited. Radon might drop here as the Acid Hunters are doing an immense amount of damage. Kennex does pick off Nautilus, though, making sure that he is not able to do anything separate from him. There's the Crescendo, as well as locking down a lot of members from Ability Power. Messiah's on the run, not able to do anything. Ghastly is nowhere near as tanky as he should be, and Kenneth, with his Black Cleaver and Trinity Force, is cleaning up absolutely everyone, and that should be a triple kill. Actually, it's the double plus Nautilus, which makes it a triple indirectly, and that should also be an ability to get free Dragon, but looks like Fortnite for now and content with just pushing lanes, because Dragon is not the biggest concern. They have a big enough gold advantage, and it looks like they're instead trying to claim some towers. A fantastic fight from Fortnite, and now their gold has extended to 14,000, and they should be able to harp on that advantage with some towers here.
Graves has picked up an Infinity Edge. Morgana finally with a Rod of Ages. Not sure if there's enough time to keep that, though. But yeah, Kenneth, Dr. Trevor making work on this tower. There's the Flux trying to take down that inhibitor. They're being really gutsy right now. Oh, there's the engage onto Kenneth, but unfortunately no Dark Binding to keep him where he was standing. And Zyro continuing to try to get all up in Ezreal's face. And oh, Kenneth is now a lot of trouble. That is 4 members of Ability Powers Magic trying to take him down. Oh yes, he does get away, but Bloodwater is sacrificed.
Wow.
Oh no, Bloodwater is completely fine.
He's okay.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
okay, because Ezreal is now going to be able to poke from so far away, and all of a sudden, Ability Power finds himself overextended. Dr. Trevor was about to finish him, but Kenneth does manage the last hit and stays legendary, 9-0-3. Which is absolutely insane at this point. 26 minutes into the game, you're already 9 kills legendary. So Fortnite's going to be able to take this inhibitor. There's actually nothing stopping them from taking another turret or even move on to the next inhibitor. And it looks like right now Ability Power is starting to realize how desperate they are with Soraka and Morgana. They don't have the ability to push back. Ghastly trying to rush back, but Ghastly pretty much has Doran's Blade and a Brutalizer for damage. Not going to be enough. Fortnite will take game number 1 in this best of 3 series. Kenneth gets one more for the perfect 10-0 legendary. As Michelle, do you have any last thoughts before we close out this game here?
Last thoughts. This was an amazing game by Fortnite, being able to keep up and show that they can indeed turn games around. Even though Dr. Trevor had been essentially shut down. Their top lane not able to roam around where he wanted to, not really able to push in on top lane as much as he wanted to, but they let Kramer get away, and they let Kenneth get away in middle lane and bottom lane after all that action in top lane. What I'd like to see for game number 2 is Ability Powers Magic being able to focus on all 3 lanes, but of course Zyro as a jungler, there's only so much that you can keep an eye on in a single game. You can't be in 3 lanes at once, no matter how quick you are as a jungler. And I guess that'll bring us to game number 2.
Yeah, so we'll see whether or not they're able to turn around. But for now, looks like that was a pretty devastating loss there for Ability Power is Magic. They had a pretty good even game, and actually they even got first blood, but you can just tell the poise that first blood doesn't necessarily mean everything, as it does give you a nice little advantage, but you're able to turn around, and that's a pretty good game if you're like looking in terms of, man, I fell behind early top lane, and how do I get back myself into the game? Dr. Trevor played a pretty good game overall, so I would go ahead and say he did fantastic, but Kenneth overall, of course, we know he was a true carry, pulling out the I'm a Cutie Pie build, and overall we'll see whether or not Ability Power can turn on game number 2. This is the GG Classic. I'm Frodan, and with me is Silver Dirge. We'll be back after a quick little